I'm Laura Lee.
And I'm Dan Wolf. Thanks for joining us. It has been a day of mourning in Duluth after Thursday's murder-suicide that left 5 people dead, including 2 children.
Duluth Police today held a press conference with details about the tragedy. We now know a father killed his 2 sons as well as his current and his former partner before turning the gun on himself.
The victims were found at 2 different locations. First, a house near the intersection of Tacony Street and North 59th Avenue West in the Cody neighborhood. The second crime scene was a home near West 6th Street and North 44th Avenue West.
We have team coverage outside both homes tonight. We start with our reporter Madison Green, who is live outside of that first home in West Duluth. Madison, what did police have to say?
Dan and Laura, I'm here on Tacony Street. Police today have identified all of the victims. At this house is where they found 47-year-old Erin Abramson and her 15-year-old son, Jacob Nephew. This is where police responded to an initial welfare check called in by a City of Superior employee. Abramson was a city employee herself, working as a leader in the Environmental Services Division. It was one of her coworkers who called in the check, realizing it was unlike her to not be at work. When police first entered the residence, they found Abramson and Jacob Nephew deceased with what appeared to be multiple gunshot wounds. Investigators also went to the house of a possible suspect named by the reporting party, 46-year-old Anthony Nephew on West 6th Street. After setting up surveillance outside of the residence, police entered with a drone. They located 2 more victims with apparent gunshot wounds, the wife and son of the suspect. The wife, 45-year-old Catherine Nephew Ramsland, was an art teacher at Lake Superior College. Her body was discovered along with 7-year-old Oliver Nephew. Officers then located suspect Anthony Nephew with what appeared as a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family, friends, and loved ones of the 4 victims in this tragic incident. We also want to send our condolences to both the Duluth community and Superior community, as this is a senseless and tragic event.
Erin Abramson, the first victim, was in a previous relationship with the suspect, and the second victim, Jacob Nephew, was their child. There's still no known motive for the murders at this time, but police have noted what they called a history of mental health for the suspect. And at the press conference, both Duluth Mayor Roger Reinert and Superior Mayor Jim Payne spoke about the tragic event that has struck both communities. Mayor Reinert saying the community is grieving.
And Madison, tell us what you see behind, what we see behind you here. Is that a memorial that's been set up?
It looks more as though they're just kind of automatic lights that would have been set previously to come on around the same time each day. And as the sun sets here, they've come on.
Okay, good to know. Thank you, Madison.
Madison, thank you. Of course, as we try to make sense of this tragedy in West Duluth, we are hearing from neighbors and others paying their respects.
In Northern News Now's Ryan Hayes has spent most of the day outside the West 6th Street home. Ryan, there is a memorial that just keeps on growing there.
That's right, Dan. I've been here most of the day hearing from members of the community and neighbors, and what we've learned is that 7-year-old Oliver was just a great young kid. Right here you can see this is a toy library that Oliver had the idea of making. You look inside and kids could grab a toy, leave a toy, so that all kinds of kids could have toys in the neighborhood to play with, and you see the outpouring of grief and support from the community with flowers and stuffed animals and everything for Oliver. One neighbor said the house on the corner of West 6th and North 44th was as quiet as can be. He said that he heard that Erin Abramson and the suspect Anthony Nephew were going through a divorce, but that this was a complete shock to their small neighborhood. Another neighbor told me he was invited to Oliver's kindergarten graduation and that he was a great kid. Another neighbor was very distraught. He told me that his kids were his friends with Oliver and that he couldn't even go into work today. I talked with their neighbor, Nikki Whittet, who spoke about the impact that this tragedy will have on the entire community.
It's shocking. It's devastating. It's heartbreaking. It's not something that we hear of here in Denfeld neighborhood.
The suspect, Tony Nephew, had previously written a column in the Duluth News-Tribune back in 2021 about mental health. In that column, he ominously wrote, "For millions of Americans, a breakdown leads to suicide or homicide before suicide." Now, throughout the day, we've been seeing an outpouring of grief and support for Oliver and the entire family. You see this makeshift memorial that's been made for Oliver, and just a horrific tragedy for the entire city. Back to you.
An outpouring of support from a community once again today here. Ryan Hayes reporting live for us in Denfeld. Thank you, Ryan.